Good morning, everybody. Lovely to see you all here, and thank you for coming. Brian McMahon is my name, and I'm an award-winning blogger. And as some of you know, the award I received when I was 5 for Irish dancing. But I'm here to talk about brand new retro, new scans, old stuff. It's as simple as that. It's a site dedicated to my parents. That's my dad, my mother. My mother is still alive, and it's a hobby. It's something I do as part-time. A labour of love. I normally do it early in the morning. I get up before the rest of the family, about 6 o'clock, maybe 6:30. If it's just one-page thing, I can get up about 7:15. Today we're going to look at the site, and I assume most people know about it, but maybe not. So I'm just going to give you some context about the site. Like, it's not a business venture. If you're here to learn about my business project and my business plan, I don't have one. So just put in context, some stats and facts, and we get those out of the way. 2 years on the go. We've got 1,700 scans on the site, over 425 posts. So that's about 4 a week. We get average of 20,000 views a month. This month may actually be the second biggest one, obviously, with a lot of talk with this event, which has been great. The cost to host it or to do the work or to put up the site is less than €100 a year. Obviously, that's not my time. It's just with WordPress.com. Very cheap, very efficient. Has never let me down. And that includes getting your own URL and mapping to it. So I'm very, very, very happy with the hosting and the cloud. We have 980 followers, and I'm really happy with how it's gone down. We've got website of the week in the Irish Independent a year and a half ago, also in the Irish Times. Broadsheet, our regular user, or make use of my stuff every so often, which is great too. And actually, I had been interviewed by Claire Byrne on RTE a year and a half ago, and I was on radio with Tom Dunn. So it's pretty amazing for a hobby. I think it's the best hobby I've certainly ever had. You know, the biggest fact about it is that I love it, and I love doing it. Okay. Sinead is going to help me with as my remote control. Let's have a little bit more look. We talk. One more click, please. Okay, it's retro. It's Irish pop culture from the 60s, 70s, and 80s mainly. There's anything pre-broadband or pre-digital camera I'm interested in, but it's primarily 60s, 70s, and 80s, which was the young years of my life. The theme for today is backwards. I think that's a negative term, and rightly so. But I think when you get to my age where more of your life is behind you than in front of you, it's okay to look backwards. And I'm hoping you see my look backwards during the next 10-15 minutes. You'll get some fun and maybe get some inspiration. Okay, the 98% of the material on the site is from my private collection or from content that my brother has lent me or my mother. So it's all private. I've got a few things that people have sent in, but it's normally sourced. And that I picked that up during the years. I used to DJ, so constantly would be in second-hand shops looking for records since I was 17, 18. And when I was in there, not knowing what's going to happen here, I would always look for magazines or anything of interest and hold on to them. Okay, the next bit, Sinead, please. Thank you. And I think this is the most important part, and it's brand new. This is the unique selling point, in my opinion. And it's the motivation for doing the web, really. One of them was to bring content that previously wasn't available online, to bring it online. And this was an early decision, and people questioned me about it and said, well, why don't you just link to this and link to that and stuff. And I just didn't see myself bringing any value to that. And so this has been the ethos. And it can be hard sometimes because I've limited enough of content to have, but it has worked well for me. Also, the top word brand. As you know from the side of it there, big into adverts, all media adverts. We've over 350 different adverts on the site. So the name works well. The logo, okay, it's not the prettiest thing. It's not meant to be. I think it sums up the site nicely. I would love to have a beautiful logo, but everything that goes up on the site is not beautiful. I love it when we get a nice picture, a nice design, a fashion photograph, but a lot of the stuff is pretty ugly. So I'm not saying the logo is ugly, but it works for me in a number of fonts. Obviously, it's made up of cuttings from different magazines. I have an old RKE here, which actually isn't used in it. Well, it is actually, it's the E here. See that? I mean, it's pretty obvious, but anybody know where the T's coming from? T's the hard one. No? What about the D? No? D I thought you would guess. Well, you obviously know the N. Anybody okay? The N? Okay, who said it? You win this sort of the E guy. Good man. Yeah, the NME, which was a big influence in our early on. This is the Irish Press. Yeah, Yellow Press, Status Magazine in Dublin. The East Side was that one. And the T actually was from the Slate, first Slate. Okay, and well, the other thing I like about the logo, or the reason it's there, is it's a hat tip to punk. And punk, read the website owes a lot to punk. And not really the music or stuff like that, more the DIY attitude of it. So Sinead, if you go to the next slide. Okay, yeah, and interesting enough, this was my first gig when I was 17 in Trinity College, The Clash, and it was great. It was really, really fantastic, and I did a good post about that. And normally in my posts, I tend not to write much. It's less is more. If I did write stuff, it would take me longer to post. I just put the content up and let people take from it what they want to take. But I did write about this one because it was my first gig. And the thing about punk was, before then, certainly as me, I assumed to be a musician or to be involved in anything, you had to be trained, you had to have maybe lots of money to buy instruments. But really, when punk came along, it wiped the slate clean. And really empowered the likes of myself and other 17-year-olds to realise that you can do these things yourself. All you need was motivation, energy, and you could do it. So the next slide shows I started a punk group in Dundalk. I went to England. I'm working at the P Factory in Smedley's, and got enough money to buy a bass guitar. I bought the bass guitar. I thought you actually could just plug it into the wall and it would play. You had a plug. Didn't realise I had to buy an amplifier as well. But within a couple of months we got a group going. And another slide there, Sinead. Here we are again. The name of the group was NRG, which was way before all these glucose drinks and that kind of thing. But the name was a bit troublesome. People would say, what does it mean? What does it mean? And we'd say it fast, say it fast. And they go, Nerg. So, and the other thing was, this is Gilly, he was the drummer. We were all in our drain pots and stuff like that, but he was still old school and he was wearing the flare, so we had to crop this or cut with scissors this particular picture before we sent it off to Hot Press at the time. It's true. Okay, Sinead. And then grew tired a bit of the punk movies, and we became, this is myself up here, into another group called The Scheme, and we actually supported U2 in the Dandelion Market way back in September '79, I think the week before the Pope visited Ireland. So, next slide, Sinead. And this is another group which I'll come back to later on, for one of Ireland's first electronic pop group, me and the right, Jackie and Stevie still with us, and we actually got on television. So, you want a bit, Sinead? Yeah. Yeah. So, it wasn't just the music though. My brother and myself were mad magazine readers, and we wanted to create our own magazine, or fanzine, and there was a lot of great fanzines out at the time. So we did it, and this was a 32-page ad-free A4 size fanzine called Too Late, and it came out at Christmas '78, and it's. You go to the next one, Sinead. You know, there was 5 more issues after that. The second one up above here. Here's actually the actual one from the Easter one. That's a map of Dundalk with some rockers. And this was all done with real cut and paste, scissors and glue, pasting it on and doing what you could. Next slide, Sinead. and this is kind of stuff that's in it. It was kind of like about the music we liked and things were going on lists and stuff like that. All handwritten. You didn't, very few people had a typewriter. There was no electric typewriters, I don't think. Photocopies were even hard to get. And next one, Sinead. Bagatelle, like this was 2-page critique, scathing review of Bagatelle. They were massive at the time. Like their song was everywhere, but if you read it, it's really, it's very funny. Very nice, clean handwriting though from my brother Eamon. Mummy, mummy, come back. They're playing Bagatelle on the radio. Is the little girl screaming out here. Next slide, Sinead. The handwriting is not as good here. This is my own handwriting. And it's about energy on the road. Well, actually, we got a gig in Dublin with the Vipers and McGonagall's. And it was just a little bit about what happened that day. I was reading it when I was putting this together. I thought it was funny. It says, we went to the Dandelion Market and walking up Grafton Street, energy go mental when they see their names on loads of posters. Once in the market, Dump, is a friend, goes mad buying badges, buying no less than 6. The Veronans also buy the new Tash LP and the Ramones' Road to Ruin. Gilly, that was a drummer, a new music freak, listens to Kraftwerk, which he enjoys and buys. Since we have an afternoon to waste, we decide to see what is on in the Green Cinema. So as it is only 75p in, we all troop in to see The Stud, which was pure crap. Next slide, Sinead. That's just another page. Dexy's actually played in Dundalk, and that's a review of it. Very interesting. And next one, Sinead. Actually, then Too Late was replaced by another fanzine called Jump in '84. So carry on. So really 30 years later, or thereabouts, coming from say the punk days to say, let's say the Daft Punk days, I was thinking about things. I was thinking, all that stuff we have there, I used to talk to Bob there, my friends about this, and they were genuinely interested in it, but I never actually showed them anything, never played them anything. And I realised that when I went on the web, none of it was documented. If you look up the U2 history, there's nothing there about the scheme playing with them. There's very little about Choice. And I said, that's not right, I need to do something about that, but I never did. Also, Web 2, I'd moved job and I was going to be back working on the web a little bit, so I was keen to find out, how easy it was now to work on the web. And then obviously the big thing though that made things happen was my father-in-law and my own father died within a couple of 3 months, and there was realizations that the mementos were actually to be easily lost, and that the treasure, the really good nuggets of photographs or whatever they had was mixed in with too much trash. So I needed to get my own content sorted. And then what happened was, it was Easter, and Sinead, my wife, went on holidays with the kids. I was left at home, a man at home with broadband on the internet. What is he to do? He starts a blog. At this point, I'm going to take an ad break, and then I'll tell you more about what happens when I start the blog, okay? Just bear with me, Mr. Bell.
So we're going to have some ads from the site. And we're going to start off with golden discs here, and nice record shop. You can see everybody's in here. There's some fine dressed gentlemen, some couples in browsing, little stool if you get tired. Your daddy behind the counter giving you some pop tips on what record you'd like to buy. But in general, it's a very nice scene. There's room for you to just literally go in and get your latest releases. There's nothing else. There's no videos. There's no all sorts of stuff like H&M or HMV used to have piles going up the stairs and everything. So it's just a really pleasant shop, record buying experience. So you bought your record. How are you going to play it on your discotron? So it's great. It says, look, you can hold it up over walk with it, hold it up over your head. I don't know if I'd recommend holding it up over your head. And the thing that strikes me as well is you have it in your hand and you're walking down the street. Where are you going to put the records that you're not playing? Are they in another big bag beside you? So then you want to get on the bus because you're travelling with your record. How do you get your money out of your pocket? So the disc's on. And now we have the spoken letter. This is Skype of 1963. And we see the families gathered, and they're going to send a lovely letter to a family member abroad or a sick person. She doesn't want to be involved with the sick person. She's like, nope, not having any of that. Don Draper in the background, checking out the scene. And yes, this is how this lady dresses to write her letters. Very nice. So that was something that, of course, it was a lot cheaper to actually write a letter and send it, but hey, it was good. It was technology. Now we're moving on to, we're really pushing ahead now. It's colour, and it's the sound burger, and you can have it anywhere you want. It's quite enormous. She's in her bed, and her sound burger is actually bigger than her, but you can listen to her music and go to sleep. And if you want, you can bring it outside, as long as you both wear the same clothes. So I think it says something about, look, high-tech takeaway, hi-fi takeaway. So this is, we're moving along lovely. Now, we all know Siobhan was wrong. So anyway, you know your music and you've decided you're going to get out there and hear it in the club. So we'll go to Club Clio. Again, the thing for wearing similar clothes is happening here, but it's all very real. They're, you know, they look good together. They're dancing away. They're having a good time. There's a couple of people in the background. Funny man having a look at her, but it's good. Unlike the next one, which is the River Club, which I think is a bit unrealistic. It is Dublin in the 70s maybe, and they're offering you champagne, a night out with some celebrity DJs, and in this case there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 women and 3 men. So that'll tell you what kind of club that is. So you could go there, or if now disco dance is not your thing, there is always Big Tom. Now I'm not sure which one of these is Big Tom, but a lot of Big Toms in there. Obviously in their mother's garden, taking a nice picture, but they're playing at Christmas, and look, they're working Christmas night and they're Stephen's Day, so there's plenty of options for you there to go and see Big Tom. Or if Big Tom doesn't take your fancy, Albert Reynolds has something for you here, and his bevy of lovely women. They're at Showboat in Malahide. You can go there, 600 seats for 600 people, so, and top flight artists from Ireland and abroad. So this could be a good night out of Cleo's. If you go to Revolution, it's very strange. I'm not sure what this person is actually wearing. It looks like a gun. And she is offering you a Tudor-style restaurant. Now, Cork. It's all happening in Cork. We have swingers in Cork. Now, is it a play on words, or are they actual swingers? And if you look closely, this guy's already naked, so chances are it is. Is this his wife, or is this Mrs. O.T. from down the road? Who knows? This lady's just having a poo. In Chicago. So anyway, you've gone out. I say no. I'd say most of us would say no, actually. Now, so these are all the guys. These are going to Big Tom, or they're going to, I don't know, Cleo's, Chicago's for a poo. This is the designated driver. He's going to drive them all home. No, he's not. He's going to drive him home. The rest of them he's going to leave behind. They can make their own way home. So, anyhow, so you've got the girl, you've gone to the disco, now it's time to take her away on holiday. So, you can bring her to the Talbot Hotel in Wexford. It's very nice. It's very basic. There's no fancy pictures. It's a hotel. And look, you can park a car outside. So that's handy. Or you can go carefree and cash-free. A tent on your car. There'd be nothing better. And it's so easy to put up. Even the lady in the nice dress from the spoken word is popped in, so pull it up on top of her car. So, buttons. You can always go to buttons. They have everything you need, and you get a souvenir program when you go in, so you know where the man in the boat is, and the dancing, and some outdoor swimming in Ireland. It's fantastic. But really, Bucklands and Mosney had the edge. They had the new computer centre. It was a modern centre with 30 computers and supervised instruction. Here's the supervisor doing the supervised instruction. Only 4 people seem to know how to use computers. The rest are out on the boats with the ducks and the girls. Now, if you really want to, this is exotic. This is where you really want to go. Obviously, they got not Irish people to model for them because they're too brown and they're wearing their little brothers and sisters bikinis and things. But there's everything. There's lovely food and lovely, and it's going to be really exotic. You're going to go there. You're going to meet the most amazing people. You're going to get the sun, the sand, probably. I don't know. Really? Yes. Nice hotel, big swimming pool. What's behind the boat? Who's laying on these lovely ladies behind the boat? These guys. That's your reality. So, I think, is that it? That's our... Oh yes, sorry. forgot about this one. So you've gone out, you've brought her on holidays and everything, and now you want to show her a token of your regard. So you buy her a record token. Now, she's getting a record token, he's getting laid. It's a win-win situation for everybody. So I think Siobhan's right.
That's where we were. It was Easter time, and I was about to start a blog. I'd looked through my content, I'd sorted it out, and the first thing that I scanned in was this picture here, which is from Butlins in '63, I think. It's my parents and my little sister. And the thing was, when I scanned that in, there you go, you know, okay, it's big, but it was amazing for me. The photograph, so small, it was as small as it was, suddenly became larger than life. I suddenly was connecting with this time. I could remember the smell of the grease, the oil that they were frying the eggs with in Butlins. It just brought me right back, and it was a key moment. And then when I cropped the photograph and put it to the top page of just your default blog template, I knew I was onto something. It was a moment I realised, oh, this is great. I'm going to start working on this. So I think if you want to, what I did was all those things we spoke about before the break, the groups and all that, I started putting those on the web and telling the stories about them. But then I also realised that other great artefacts and work from that period weren't on the web either. Heat magazine was fantastic. Look at the artwork there. Another slide, Sinead. Brilliant. These guys from Dublin, and it was absolutely fantastic. This is 78, 79, Bob Geldof on the cover. Ireland is the new Akron. Great stuff. And I mean, if you look at my copies of those, they're so well thumbed that we read them so much, and they were a big inspiration for us. But very little of this was on the web. And again, I would only put stuff up that wasn't previously on the web. So you can carry on, Sinead. This is a guys from Drogheda, Almost News. Not as good as Too Late or Jump. We don't like Drogheda, but in fairness, look at the people who moved on to greater things then from this. Tony Clayton, Lee, Shane Harrison's now at the BBC, Kelly Finch's the US college professor, Arthur Matthews from Father Ted, Alan Partridge, etc., was design editor. And Paul Eustace later worked for ID magazine, and Enda Murray, actually a video movie maker in Australia who actually did a great post for my blog, were just some of the people involved. If you flick through, Sinead, this was one of Arthur's comics, Biz Style, Dan the Points Man, and excellent stuff. Interestingly, actually, Arthur got in touch with the web with me, or put a comment up on the site 2 times saying how much you liked it, and that was really, really nice of him. So then we went on and found I had a copy of Man Alive. I think I have it here. I'm afraid I won't be giving this one away as a prize now. So, but this is Ireland's first magazine for men, and it was interesting when I put this stuff up and this up. The hits start going up a little bit more. But it was actually not a decent magazine, and if you wanted the next one, it had things like fashion. This guy walking out by Stephen's Green at the Shelburne Hotel. And next one, Sinead. Yeah, so really at that stage the blog was going along nicely, but nothing too special as regards listeners. But I was enjoying it. I was getting great support from my friends and from other people. Some people saying, well, who's interested in this? Why are you doing it? I kept on doing it. I really believed in it. So what happens next? I can remember. So that's kind of it, you know, like when it comes September after the first year, people like Broadsheet did pick up on something, and then suddenly it was getting very popular. The Irish Times, as I said, put an article in, Unun Malali and Jim Carroll. Lots of other people were very, very good. But what I'm going to do now is just go through some of the things that I like about some of my favourite posts or some of my favourite images. And I love this one because it's beautiful. It's up in the Dublin Mountains, and when you see these photographs and you don't know what the history is behind them, you obviously know it's an ad campaign, but I just think about how did they get the gear up, what if the weather was bad, how did they organise it, this is not Photoshop, this is for real. And you know, I think it's a shame if that was still continued lying in my attic and not up on the web for you, like you people to see and enjoy it. Next one, Sinead. Okay, does anybody know who this is? The artist? No? Very good. You get a Cork Hassan album. Very good. Very good. Yes, it is, and isn't it beautiful? And here is the article. Like, so it's not just magazines. If something is beautiful and it's not on the web, I would scan it and put it up. I think that's gorgeous. And you know, this one I got with 10 other albums. This is what the back cover looks like, by the way. In a charity shop in Dublin for €1. So it's worth more than €1, but I love that one. Kurt Hassan has a great tenor. This is another favourite, it's a recent one. It's the Witch's Hairdressing Salon. In Frederick Street. This, if you want the next one, Sinead, these are the guys who work there. I love this. Michael, actually, it turns out if you flick next one, Sinead, was actually one of the Man Alives featured there. Like, so he was obviously a man around town. And the next one, Sinead, and this is Robert Chambers, who's still got a business and actually contacted the web and told me that all these guys are still alive, still working in the business except for Vince, and it was really great. It's great to get that connection. And Robert talked about how Vital Sassoon was a big influence on them at the time, and then what a great scene it was back then. I think we have to go quickly, Sinead. I also love photographs of that places of interest in the background. You can see Dublin, O'Connell Bridge there. This one is just, this was lucky. I had an old Sunday Independence because I kept it for some sporting event, and I found this in it, and it's quite funny. Kate Bush with Sonny Knowles at Dublin Airport. This is another rare one, I think. Again, it's the Wimpy in Dorset Street. If you go to the map that's in brand new retro, you can see where this is mapped. Let's fill in it with Pat Egan, a DJ. This is a set from Harper's Bazaar, an Irish fashion show, the magazine that my mother had from 1965, I think. I love it. They're kind of strange, the photographs in it. And the next one, Sinead, this particular one here was interesting. Again, where is this? It's in Cork, I knew that. And some people who followed the blog and some friends from Cork went to find out where it was. It became the Cork Mystery Corner. I eventually discovered that this building actually has been knocked down, but we were able to identify it. Okay, to finish off, the top 5 most popular posts I thought might have been of interest to you. Sleepies, next one, Sinead. A Dublin nightclub, very interesting. I think there's a lot of good stuff up there about the move from, say, the show band scene and the group scene to nightclubs. And this is one thing, this is a Star Trek mobile disco. And the man who ran that actually got in touch with the blog as well and told me the story behind it. And it's fascinating. If you look at the comments in there, there's over 100 comments on one of the nightclub pages. I think it's the Sleepies one. Really interesting. Next, Sinead. Butlins is very popular, consistently popular. Butlins Mosney. The Slade is popular. I think that's number 3. Number 2, it's 200 Reasons to Stay in Dublin. You may have seen this, picked up by Totally Dublin and LaCool. Totally Dublin did their 200 Reasons in the modern day. This came from when in Dublin was 200 issue. There's 200 Reasons why to say. That was massive. But the one is, number 1 is actually this one when Phil Lynott married Caroline Lynott. And the reason I say is because we got a lot of overseas hits on this from search engines, you know. But again, it wasn't on the web, and there's also a whole review of the wedding by Paula Yates in there as well. Stuff that interests me, you know. Go ahead. C.C. Pennison, finally, we're here. One of the best things, one of the group I showed you early on was a group called Choice. We said we were never kind of recognised, but by putting the music up on the blog, a guy called Darren McCreesh spotted it, loved it. He was putting this album together, which came out last year, and the group that we put up and made the demo, we ended up being on it, and it was great. Never could say to my kids we had a record, we have a record now. And we're actually playing tonight in a Grand Social at 8:30 with 2 other post-punk groups from that era that are also on this album. So a lot of positives have come out from this web. It's great being here. I'm thrilled that the guys asked me. It's lovely to see you and a chance to talk about it. I hope you have a great weekend, and thank you very much.